Every morning, the court herald makes his rounds of the palace shrines, reporting to the spirits that dwell there that all is well in the city and giving praise to the Oba. In their quarters, pages are preparing themselves. They were sent to the court by their parents when they were small children, as a gesture of loyalty to the Oba, and they wear brass anklets to show their status and seniority. Their costume is derived from the doublets worn by the Portuguese 400 years ago. A dwarf still lives in the palace, serving the Oba. He has the responsibility of looking after the shrines. Leather caskets containing kola nuts are brought from special storage places to be used in the Ematon ceremony. It is now almost 11 o'clock. The chiefs of the Ibiwe society have been singing for hours. It is their responsibility to make sure that the palace is always alive with music and echoing with praise for the God King. And now, an announcement. The Oba is in his palace. The doors will now be barred. Ematon is now to begin. In a reception chamber, the palace chiefs await the Oba's arrival. His Highness Oba Akenzuo II, the grandson of the Oba deposed in 1897, who has reigned here since 1933. And now the chiefs, one by one, declare their loyalty. Ematon ends each day with a ritual performed by this man, the court herbalist. After its completion, he dances. He has anointed the Oba's body with medicine in order to renew his strength and thus the strength of the Bini people. It was a part of the ceremony that only the most senior of palace chiefs may witness. The herbalist's cloak is sewn with magic charms, skulls of animals, pieces of horn, and fragments of metal. Over his shoulder, the medicine from which he draws his power. Meanwhile, outside the palace, the Oba's subjects are assembling. In the old days, he was the absolute ruler, dispensing judgment on any problem that his people brought to him. Today, the law is administered through courts, but many still prefer to seek solution to their disputes from the Oba and will abide by what he says. This man has come from an outlying village to seek permission to hold a religious festival. but because he's a commoner, he may not address the Oba directly, and the request has to be made through one of the palace chiefs. I agree, says the Oba. Give him one coral bead as a token of my permission. In addition to religious protocol, the Oba also gives rulings on civil disputes. This woman has been brought here because she had attacked one of her neighbors and broken her fingers. One of my children was sick, she explains in her defense. I consulted the oracle, and I was told that my neighbor had caused the sickness with some of her friends. She wouldn't tell me who the others were, and that's how the trouble started. The chief suggests that someone should go down to the village to sort things out. No, says the woman, I know my rights. I want things settled here. Beyond the reception chambers lies the harem. Once the Oba had over 100 wives. Here the royal children are brought up. When they are 10 or so years old, they must leave and never return, for no man other than the Oba and one court official may enter here. The queens have their own distinctive hairstyles which none but they may wear. They also have their own shrines where they and their friends make sacrifices. The particular divinity they worship here is Olokun, the spirit of water, and therefore of fertility. We've given you the blood of a guinea fowl, says one. Now send us your blessings. Thank you, Queen of the Water, says another, for delivering me safely of a child.
Now, it is not possible to enter this chamber until you knock 3 times.
The most sacred shrines belong to the Oba himself, and I'm taken to see those by one of his sons.
So I'm going to knock at the door 3 times before I open it.
Prince Humphrey Akanzua is a graduate in anthropology from a Nigerian university. He's also a believer both in Christianity and the traditional practices of his people.
This is where we keep our shrine for the departed Oba or the late Obas. Now, this chamber is very important to us. It's always a secret chamber. Here we have a shrine, one for Adola, and this one here is for my grandfather, Eweka II.
Yes.
This is the traditional setting in the palace, where you have the Oba at the middle, surrounded by his chiefs. Now, the model you have here is a bronze cast of my grandfather, Eweka II. Now, you see, we have two chiefs here, the front chief carrying what we call asa. In terms of warfare, these materials are usually used to guide the Oba from attack. Oba was one time a warrior.
And what are these?
These are thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts?
Thunderbolts, yes. We collect them for our shrine because we believe that they are very, very powerful.
And do they come from the sky?
Yeah, they come from the sky.
They look like axes, don't they?
They do, but I think they have a natural shape. It is not carved.
These are not carved by human hand?
No, it's not carved by human hand.
Because we find such things elsewhere in the world made of stone, and they are there used for cutting, but here that is not so.
No, it's not so.
Yeah.
They are usually dug from the ground.
I see. What is this, Humphrey?
This is a bell, cast in bronze. Now, this bell and the rattlestick are used simultaneously during any ceremony or festival. This one is used to summon the spirit of the ancestors by ringing it. The other one is used to confirm prayer in the shrine by shaking it like this.
And can anybody